All right, we have lots of updates in this release, so let's go ahead and dive into our agenda. And as always, we're going to have platform demonstrations to show you exactly where to find things and how to leverage these tools, as well as go over some of our newly available resources at the end. So this release was packed with new features and updates to the following parts of Everlaw. So search and review, the data visualizer, Storybuilder, productions, the AI assistant, uploads, organization admin, and smart recommendations. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera just so that you all have a little bit of a better screen real estate here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with search and review. So first, the optional sampling field in search settings now accepts a number of documents returned instead of the previous percentage option. So now you don't have to manually calculate a percentage from the total number of documents that are in your results to get that specific number in your sample. I'll note that searches that have that pre-existing percent-based samples are going to keep the old behavior unless you go in and update the search settings. Then it's going to convert to the results, or it's going to convert the results to the new sample size. Okay, staying on the search page, the contents term is now going to expand vertically, and that's going to accommodate the amount of text that you're searching for. So if there's more text than fits into the box, you can scroll through it to read all of the text. And this is going to make it much easier to see long text strings in the contents field. So it used to look like this, and now it's going to look like this. All right. Next, let's move on to a feature that I'm personally very excited about. So you can now jump to the row of a specific Bates or control number within a results table. So when you know the Bates or control number of a document or a page within a document, it's much faster to just jump to that specific number rather than scroll through a potentially long list of documents or need to go ahead and build a separate search to look for that specific document. All right, let's see what this looks like in the platform. Okay, so here I am on a results table. Let's say I wanted to search for a document that had the Bates number 7434. I can go ahead and click this new magnifying glass that we can see here, and I can just type in whatever it is that I'm looking for, and then it's going to jump directly to that number. And so I found it right here. If I wanted to look for, let's say, a Bates number that has a prefix, I could say ABC 7434, and it will jump me down to that specific Bates number. So this is also going to search across the pages themselves. So for example, for this document, ABC 7431, this could be a multi-page document. So if I want to find 7432, I could type in ABC 7432. And then it would still highlight that same exact document because it has 7432 on page 2 of the document. So it's going to search for those documents even if it doesn't have the begin Bates in the search that you're running. I will note that it is case sensitive, so make sure that your prefix is capitalized when you're searching. So make sure you're not typing in ABC. You want to type in that all caps ABC. All right. So for our next feature, the limit of the number of redactions in a spreadsheet has now increased to 200,000. So previously the limit was 5,000 redactions in a spreadsheet. So pretty straightforward on this one. We've increased that limit. All right, cool. So now let's move on to updates to the data visualizer. So we have made a huge improvement to the user interface for the file path visualization in the data visualizer. So the new interface is now going to be a tree style, which is going to mirror file searching on a computer. So the image on the left is going to show what it looked like before with that breadcrumb style as you click through each of the folders. But with the image on the right over here, this is the new view, which shows you that tree-like folder structure. So let's take a look at what this looks like on the platform. So I'll jump into the data visualizer just by clicking on this button up here and then click data visualizer. All right, so let me go ahead and just click on this file path view right here. Okay, so currently this is visualizing all of the documents in my project. So I'm now seeing all folders that I uploaded onto this project. And to explore a given folder, I can just click on this arrow right here. And that's going to open up the rest of the subfolders. And then I can continue exploring just by continuing to click on these arrows. Now, if I'd like to select a folder that I'd like to search across, I can just click on this checkbox. And that's going to not only select this folder, but it'll also partially select the other folders that it came from. And so it's only going to select the documents that are actually within the folder that you have selected, though. So I can see there's 3 documents in this folder, and then there's 3 documents potentially selected before I click this Add Filter button and actually select these documents. So I'll go ahead and click Add Filter. And now I'm just looking at the documents that are within the selection. Now, this is not going to be saved. This search is not going to be saved on my homepage unless I click Apply Filters to Search. So it's kind of just like building out a search on the search page. So I have to click Apply Filters to Search. And then I'd be able to go back to the homepage, and then I would see that search that I just created. And additionally, if I was, let's say, in the data visualizer, this is just a fun little pro tip. If I'm selecting specific folders here, and then I clicked Add Filters to Search and Apply Filters to Search here. Let's say I wanted this to create an actual search on the search builder for me. I can just click on this 3-dot menu and then click Create New Search from Filtered Search. And then if I click Edit, it'll take me back to the search that it actually built out for me. So you can build these super complex searches in the data visualizer, hit that 3-dot menu, and then click Create Filters from Search, and then it'll take you to the search page with that search built out for you. All right. And then another update to the data visualizer is the added ability to view your selections in a results table from the data visualizer. So this is called the selections preview, which is seen on the right side of this image on the slide. And from here, you can apply batch actions to your documents, like adding codes or adding the documents to a binder, as well as exporting the documents. So with the selections preview open, you can also enter explore mode, which is going to allow you to compare results between selections. So let's go ahead and take a look at this on the platform. So I'll go ahead and jump back into the data visualizer. All right, so now when I'm in the data visualizer and I am looking through documents, I'm going to see this preview panel on the right-hand side. So if I click on this preview button, or I can just press the space bar to either collapse it or expand it, this is going to open up the selections preview. So this will create a split screen for you between the visualization and the selections preview on the right. So I can go ahead and select a few documents in here. So I'll jump and select, let's say, these documents, and then it's going to show that selection of the documents on the right-hand side. And so what I can do from here is I can hit this batch button and then modify these documents that I've selected. So I could, add them to a binder. I could add a code to these documents and then hit apply. And that's going to apply that to the documents that I had selected right here. And then additionally, you'll have this export button where you can export to, CSV, PDF, zip, production, or LFP. So that's a really cool update that we have. To make this go away, I can go ahead and click that space bar, and that just made it collapse for me. But hopefully this will make it a lot easier for you so that you don't have to move between the results table and the data visualizer frequently. I'll also point out Explore mode, which if I press the space bar one more time, there's this Explore button right here. And this is going to allow you to select certain elements of your visualizer without them necessarily being selected. So I can explore what's in this particular set, but as you can see, as I click other ones, it's not automatically selecting everything that I've clicked on. So it just gives you the opportunity to compare selections across your visualizations without necessarily adding any filters. All right, cool. So next we have a few updates to Storybuilder. So first, let's discuss document preview. So Storybuilder's document preview is going to allow you to view your documents in Storybuilder in a separate window, and you can use the paddle to move through documents that are referenced anywhere in Storybuilder where you can see that preview button. So from here, you can also see and apply codes to your documents. You can also view spreadsheets, audio, and video files. All right, let's take a look at this on the platform. So I'll jump back on here and I'll go over to Storybuilder just by hitting that quill. And so here I am on Storybuilder. I'll jump into the timeline and I can see this eye icon right here, this preview button. So this is going to open up the document in a separate window, and I can move this to be alongside my other window. So I'll go ahead and collapse this really quick just so we can see what that looks like. Okay. So here I can see all of the codes that have been applied to my document. And then I'm also able to apply additional codes directly from here. When I move on to my next document, it's going to show the selected document that I'm looking at within Storybuilder. So you're just going to get a little bit more of that clarity and visibility over your documents with the added ability to view their review work and apply review work from here as well. And the same thing is going to be true in depositions and drafts. So I'll just go ahead and open up a draft right here. And then I'll just go ahead and click on one of these documents and hit this preview icon. And then as I move through these documents with this paddle, I'm going to see which one is selected over here as well. All right, I'll go ahead and go back to my full screen. And then I'll go ahead and go back to my slideshow. Additionally, in Storybuilder, we have made an update to deposition transcripts. So Everlaw is now going to automatically remove any of those extraneous middle dots that are in uploaded PDF deposition transcripts. And so PDF deposition transcripts using the middle dot in place of spaces cause some challenges for reviewing transcripts. So now all these middle dots are replaced with spaces to preserve formatting, and it's going to resolve those unwanted dots. Cool. Next, we have one productions feature that will be particularly interesting to those of you who use privilege logs across multiple productions. So you can now create multi-production privilege logs in your projects. So this is going to allow you to generate privilege logs spanning multiple productions from a single location and in a single action, rather than having to individually generate each privilege log and compile them. So to do this, go to the productions page. So I'll go ahead and jump back onto my project and jump onto productions. And then you can go into the multi-production privilege log area. And from here, you can click New Multi-Production Privilege Log. And this is going to open this dialog for you. And so I'll go ahead and enter a name. And then I can enter a description if I want. And from here, I can either start with blank or I can copy an existing configuration that I've already made, but I'll go ahead and start with blank here. Now you need to select more than one production to actually move on to the next step. Because if you're just doing one, then you'd just be downloading that single privilege log. And so I select these multiple productions. And then from here, I can select my configuration. So this is going to include if I would like to have a CSV or a DAT file. I can choose the included documents right up here, just my privileged documents, non-privileged, or my redacted documents. And then I can choose which metadata fields I'd like to include. So I can go ahead and add in any additional information. And then I'll go ahead and hit create. So this card is now going to appear with the new log. And then from here, I can see a lot of information about this privilege log just on the card itself. And then I can also share via sharing the log or a direct download. So this is going to be very similar to sharing productions. If I share via the log, I can, create a specific shareable link, or I can just share via email and enter in the email addresses and choose the expiration. All right, so if you plan to use this feature, I recommend reading some of the important considerations that are in the release notes, and I have linked that in the Docs tab. So you can go ahead and take a look at the release notes in the Docs tab if you'd like to learn more. Okay, moving right along, let's discuss the updates to extractions in our AI tools. So custom extractions allow you to quickly and in bulk pull relevant information from different types of documents. And this update includes quite a few things. So first, we've got a new extractions page in the project settings where you can manage all of your extractions. Also, extraction fields are going to be automatically saved and then they can be used later. We've given you the ability to edit extraction field names and prompts. You have the ability to hide extraction fields. And then individual columns in the results table are going to be separate for each extraction. And then you'll also see no value found display when there is no text that's found. So let's take a look at this on the platform. So first, let's go to the extractions page that we've created. All right, so from here, project admins can view, create, edit, and hide extraction fields. So all of that is available here. If you want to add a new field, if you want to remove the visibility of one of your fields, or if you would like to edit one, you can click this pencil icon right here. And then from the results table, when you generate an extraction, so I'll go ahead and click batch, and then I want to create extractions for these documents. This is going to look a little bit different as well. So you can now select from previous extractions, or you can create a new one. So I could create a new field right here if there was something else that I wanted to search across. So I'll go ahead and just do this for one that let me choose a couple that I've already generated or I've already created. And I'll confirm the credits that I'm using. And now you can see the columns are in their separate columns here for each extraction. And then if you needed to export out this information, you could hit export to CSV, and you would be able to include those specific extractions that you created. So I can just look for the specific extraction that I created, and then I'm going to be able to extract that information out through this export. So hopefully this is going to increase prompting consistency across the project and save time that was previously used redefining fields. Okay, cool. So we have two upload updates. One is that users who are uploading native data to Everlaw can now opt out of denisting And denisting is the process in which system files and other non-user generated data are removed from a collection. So you're able to opt out of that. And then additionally, the second one that we see here, we have some updated recommendations for how to prepare exports within Microsoft Purview. So if you upload data from your local computer and through Everlaw's cloud connection with Microsoft Purview, then these recommendations are for you. So make sure that you check out the link to the recommendations in the release notes to learn more about that. And then finally, we have some organization admin updates that you might find useful if you are an org admin. So admins can now customize the email address that Everlaw legal hold notifications are sent from. And this is going to let your organization send those notifications from an email address with your own organization's email domain. So previously, all legal hold notifications were sent from notifications@everlaw.com without a way to customize that. So it used to look like this, and then you can change it to look like that. One note here is that responses to the email, so when someone replies to the legal hold email, that's still going to go to the reply to email that was set up for that specific legal hold. And you can set this up from the new settings tab that's on the legal hold org admin page. And steps on setting this up can also be found in the release notes. All right, the last few things that I'm going to mention, but won't go into too much detail, are the following updates. So there were a couple of org level updates. So parent organizations can now enable their sub-organizations to use the same SSO, metadata, and settings as the parent organization. Additionally, for users who leverage API, there are new analytics events available in Platform for document and database deletions. And additionally, you can update document metadata using API. And finally, smart recommendations are going to be enabled for all users on new projects by default. Okay, great. So that's it for all of our features from this release. Make sure you check out our release notes if there's anything that you wanted to learn more about. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about our new resources and some upcoming events. So first, we have a new training schedule. So Everlaw Essentials, which you see is happening every Tuesday now. This is a new training that's going to be on search and document review, so getting started on Everlaw. And then additionally, Storybuilder is now interactive, and it's going to be happening a little bit more frequently. So I will link the training center with our sign up area for all of our live trainings so that you can sign up for these sessions or send them to other folks if you think that they would benefit from them. I also wanted to personally invite you to Everlaw Summit, which is coming up here soon, October 21st to 23rd. So the registration to that is going to be linked in the docs tab as well. But this is going to be a great 3 days of collaboration. You know, we'll have lots of training available from the user education team. You can also join a certification track if you'd like to become Everlaw certified, and also lots of networking opportunities as well. So I will drop that link. Ensure you click on that from the docs tab just so that you can take a look at some of the cool things we have to offer. And then finally, we have a webinar coming up on migrating from another e-discovery platform to Everlaw. And this webinar is going to be designed to help you consolidate e-discovery platforms, streamline your workflows, and ensure that no valuable review work is lost in the migration process. So link to that is also in the docs tab. All right, that wraps up our What's New on Everlaw. So if you have any last questions, please let us know. And as always, we'd love your feedback on this session. So you can find a link to our 2-minute feedback survey on the docs tab. we do read every single response. Okay, so I'll go ahead and check and see if there are any questions left over in the Q&A.